a squad update, if you would, after the weekend. How's everyone doing ahead of Ross County?
In terms of injury-wise, 𝙁𝙪𝙡𝙚𝙚𝙚𝙚 is probably the most significant, so he'll miss the weekend. And then the others who went off with combinations, sort of cramp and some knocks, all should be fine for Sunday.
Just what's been the message this week? Obviously, the disappointment in the Cup, but as you reiterated after the match, I mean, you're 5 games away from the biggest prize in Scotland. Has that been the message this week?
No, I think our message this week is the same as every other week. We go into it analysing our performance, and obviously, as you said, the result was disappointing, and we do our analysis and then move on pretty quickly because we know there's another game coming around the corner. So obviously, with no midweek games, it means we can train a bit more. To be fair, after the extra time, boys needed a couple of extra days, the ones who played, recovery. So training wasn't sort of as intense earlier in the week, but back in today, working hard and getting ready for the weekend.
Obviously, you've been unbeaten domestically for a long time, so you haven't had to bounce back from a defeat. But are you confident that you can just pick yourselves up straight away? Is that the mood been in training this week, that you can just get straight back to it in the league and start winning again?
Yeah, I mean, again, like I said, it's from our perspective, nothing's really changed. Whether we won last week or didn't win last week, our processes will still be the same, and that is to give feedback to the guys about our previous game's performance, and then move on pretty quickly. We've done that all year, and it's been a similar week. I understand that obviously the result was disappointing last week, and meant that we were out of the Cup, but ultimately, in terms of the league, nothing really changed for us after the weekend. We know that there's 5 games to go beginning this weekend, and every game's going to be its own unique little challenge, and we just got to be ready for it.
Unique challenge this weekend is Ross County. What are you expecting from them? It was really stubborn game just before Christmas, wasn't it? Required a 97th minute winner from Tony Rowson. Could it be a similar really tight affair this Sunday?
Well, you go back to a specific point in time. We've played them since then as well. So, you can always go back to a point in time and use that as a reference point. But our reference point is, how we've been playing, and we've been very consistent with our form for a long period of time. And we know it's a challenge. Every game's a challenge, home or away. And Ross County have been fantastic, especially, second half of the year. Malky's done an enormous job with them to get them into the top 6. And we knew that the last time we played them at home. So, we've got to be ready for, it's going to be a tough opponent. But again, as I said, we've been pretty consistent in our performances. We just need to continue that.
Ange, can I just check on you? So you say that he'll not be available this weekend, but how long are you expecting him to be out for?
Hard to say. It's one of those where we just want to. It really hasn't settled down, the injury yet. So fair to say it'll be at least a couple of weeks. But after that, we're just going to have to see how he recovers.
In terms of, you talk about the game last weekend, and I know that there's pressure in every game, but as the season draws to close, how are the players dealing with this? Because obviously everyone's looking at it going, 6 games to go, 5 games to go, 4 games to go.
Yeah, look, like I said, I understand that that's kind of where the mindset is outside here, but, within sort of our group and what we've been doing, we've never sort of approached the season in that manner. If we did, like I said, after round 6, we probably, that's when the pressure was on, because we knew we had to be fairly perfect from then on to make sure we're in a position to challenge for the league. And that's where we are now. We're in that position, and we've got 5 games to go, and we're in a strong position in terms of the table, but also a strong position in terms of our performances, and that's all we need to focus on. I don't think anything else really becomes important. From the players' perspective, what they feel, and the way they behave, I haven't seen any sort of significant changes. Obviously, they were disappointed after last week, but as I said, irrespective of last week, it wouldn't change our challenge this week. Different competition and different sort of objectives.
Hi, Ange. I was just wondering about Georgios Giakoumakis. What's his situation? Is he likely to be available for tomorrow?
Yeah, he'll be available. He's trained, trained earlier in the week, reintegrated into the squad, and has done the last couple of sessions fully. Trained tomorrow, so he's ready to go and available.
That's great. And just wondering about following the defeat last Sunday, whether you had to, you felt you had to sort of lift the players, or was there a natural determination in them to put things right in the league after going out in the cup?
No, as I said, I think, my role in all that is to, like I said, to give the players the feedback they need after every performance, good, bad or otherwise, every result, good, bad or otherwise. And I've felt all along, all this year, that every setback we've had, and we've had quite a few of them, that the players have embraced every challenge, and I didn't sense within the group that there was any sort of hangover from the result when we got back into training. They're disappointed. Of course they're disappointed. Everyone was disappointed. But at the same time, they understand that what needs to happen from after a result like that is that you put your energies in a positive way to the next game. And the next game is, for us, Ross County on the weekend. So, like I said, I haven't felt the need to lift them up, or I haven't sensed a change in the mood. They've been a determined, resilient group all year, and that's what I continue to see.
As is that resilience you talk about, the way the players came through the start of the season with all the kind of difficulties there, does that stand you in good stead for this time when the finish line is in sight almost?
Well, that's what you rely on. That you've created an environment where players embrace the challenges that are ahead, because, like I said, it wasn't just the start of the year, but like I said, we've had challenges all along. I mean, if we had have had one loss in this whole run that we've been on, the league would be really tight. A loss and a draw, it's 2 results. So the players have been playing under that sort of pressure, like I said, since round 6, 7, whatever it was. And what we've tried to do is, like I said, create an environment where they block out all that stuff and focus on what's important. What's important is your performance coming into a game, so the previous form, or where you are in the season, or where you are in terms of your position on the table, becomes irrespective of everything else but your performance. So I think that resilience has been there all year, and when you go into, like I said, this sort of the important part of the season, that's what you have to rely on, that the environment you created will overcome whatever extra pressures there may be.
With Giakoumakis coming back to fitness, and obviously Kyogo got a good run out of the weekend there, you feel really pleased about your attacking options as well now? You've not had the two of them fit together for a while.
Yeah, no, that is obviously that is pleasing that we've kind of had one or the other all the way along, so having them both available, and I think we'll need them both obviously in these last 5 games, because they provide sort of different options for us up front, and against different oppositions, and both quality players who've scored goals in this league. So from that perspective, I think it's good to have them both available and training. And as you said, with Kyogo last week, he probably got more game time than we thought he would because of the extra time, but he got through it really well. And as I said, with Jacko, he's only missed a week, which means he hasn't really he doesn't need to top up in terms of fitness or anything, so he's ready to go as well.
Do you get surprised by the reaction that comes with a defeat at Celtic compared to some of the other places that you've managed?
No, not surprised. I think it's only natural and logical and understandable. I mean, I'm under no illusions that that the people will sort of feel good or feel okay after losing a game. Like I said, semi-final of a cup, an opportunity to get to a cup final against our biggest rivals. I think it's only natural, and I think it's a healthy thing, because that's what maintains your standards at this football club, is that you kind of know that people have the highest of expectations, and they want to be successful in everything, and I think that's fine. But that doesn't mean that I have to sort of react to that. You know, my role in that is to try and sort of steer people through, you know, what's important to us in the short term. Because what I do know is that come Sunday, all the supporters that are there and the people who support us are going to be behind us 100% and wanting us to do well. So, and in terms of the people who, you know, are assessing our performance from a critical standpoint, well, again, you know, they've got every right to pick us apart and do what they feel is necessary in terms of appraisal. But again, it doesn't affect me, and it certainly shouldn't affect the players, because, you know, the only feedback they should really think about is mine, and you know, no one's as honest as about that as me when it comes to the way we're performing.
Do you expect all the pressure to be on Celtic on Sunday, Ross County already having made the top six and, you know, kind of achieved what they've set out to do this season?
Oh, well, I mean, it also could mean that, you know, they play a little bit more freer, which makes them a dangerous opponent. You know, I think, you know, I don't know Melky well, but, you know, the way he's sort of worked that team through the season, I think he'll be pushing them to finish as high as possible in the league. It's pretty tight from sort of fourth to sixth. So, you know, I think, you know, they'll be a difficult opponent. But I think every game will have, like I said, it'll have its own little challenges. And what's important for us is that when we play our football and we're, you know, we show the right intensity and tempo in a game, we're hard to stop, whether it's home or away.
Listen, I'm currently reading your book at the minute, and in it you talk about the influence of your dad and 𝙈𝙤𝙙𝙚𝙀. So I wanted to ask you, what would your dad and 𝙈𝙤𝙀𝙀𝙀 make of this current Celtic team? Can you still hear your dad moaning, or would 𝙈𝙀𝙀𝙀 be a bit more proud?
Yeah, probably a bit of both. But, you know, again, it would be moaning in a positive sense. No, I think both would appreciate what they see, not because of me, but because, you know, both wanted their football teams to play in a certain manner with a certain intent, and I think this group of players have shown that courage and bravery you need to every week go out there and try and be as aggressive as possible in your approach. It's not easy to do, and it requires a lot of hard work and a lot of, as I said, a lot of intestinal fortitude to consistently put yourself out there, and you know, sometimes, like last week, stumbling along the way because of, you know, the kind of football team we want to be. So, you know, I think, you know, both my dad and 𝙈𝙤𝙀𝙀𝙀, the one thing that they always sort of espoused was to never be, you know, afraid of stumbling or failing if you're going about things in a certain way, you know, and you know, that's why I'm really proud of this group of players and staff, is because they've kind of embraced this challenge. They've embraced it in a way, you know, I really love, and have been prepared to take the knocks along the way. You know, you won't find us, you know, one moment this year we're making an excuse or feeling sorry for ourselves or trying to take away the responsibility that lies upon us to be, you know, the team we want to be. So, you know, from that point of view, I think, you know, I'd like to think that both of them, you know, would be proud of what they see, but, you know, both of them would be probably telling me that we could be better.
And on that, you talk about, you hear a lot how football is governed by sporting psychology. What's your kind of sporting and football psychology, especially when it comes to bouncing back after a defeat?
Like I said, I think, you know, you've always got to have, you know, something to aspire to, and you know, I've often said, if your whole focus is on wins and losses, then, you know, you're kind of at the mercy of something that's sometimes out of your control, not always, because, you know, you can lose games of football and still, you know, with your endeavour and your intent, be doing the right thing, and you can win games of football where you kind of know you've walked away and you haven't really performed at the level. So, you know, that's, for me, it's always been about, you know, creating a team and having a group of people who are seeking something beyond the wins and the losses. And so for me, particularly at this football club, is that we just want to be a team that plays the game a certain way, and you know, it's not easily attainable. Maybe it's never attainable, to be honest, the way I want us to play, because I'll always seek improvement. But when you have that as your goal, then a loss shouldn't derail your sort of efforts and your commitment to a cause. You know, you can't just, you know, because then if you let a loss derail you, then you're going to let a win derail you too, because success and failure are equal, you know, have equal demons within them. You know, sometimes success means you get complacent. You start thinking about yourself rather than the team. You start thinking you're more important than the sum of the whole part. So, you know, all those kind of things for me are part of the psychology of what we try and do here, is that we want to be a certain kind of football team, a team that, you know, our supporters are proud of, this football club's proud of, play the game in a certain way, and with that, obviously be successful. And with that being our end goal, I think whatever sort of hits we get along the way, like last week, well, you know, that's just an opportunity for us to get back on our feet and go again.
As you alluded to there, you know, the bond between the supporters and yourself and the team remains really strong, even in the wake of Sunday. But, you know, as we get closer to the prize, I think there's a natural tension and excitement in supporters too. How do we all deal with it collectively over the next few weeks, over what might be a bit of a crazy ride? Just
like you're beginning the ride on the scariest roller coaster you've ever been on, mate. So just you know, hope that it all ends well, but enjoy the ride and the ups and downs. And yeah, it's, like I said, it's part of the nature of sort of embracing this whole concept that we want to play our football a certain way, be a certain kind of team. And you know, I think, you know, like I said, I don't think it's unhealthy for people to feel anxious or nervous, or, you know, that's why we love it. You know, if I'm sure, you know, most people say, well, you know, if you could guarantee us we win the next 5 games and we're champions, everyone would be happy. But you know what? I reckon they'd be a little bit bored as well, you know, and probably lose interest after a while. You know, the excitement of football and sport and supporting a team is that it is a little bit of that unknown, you know, that we are on the edge, and that's what, when you gain it and when you get the success that you deserve, you enjoy it so much more, because you know you've had to be white-knuckled fair way through it, and you'll remember that. You know, you remember the highs, you remember the lows. Like I said, the last thing I want is our supporters to be flatlining, you know, just to be coming, you know, clapping at the end of the game and then going home and not thinking about it. I'm sure it's been a tough week for our supporters, no doubt. We understand that and we take responsibility. And you know, I know the players and everyone involved, the football club. You know, we want to make our supporters, you know, feel better about themselves in the coming week. But you know, like I said, I'm not guaranteeing you anything, mate. But hopefully, when you get off the ride at the end, you think it's been worth it.
Just another point, there was an interesting report earlier this week about the positive impact of Anton McElhone on the sports science department at Celtic this season. I just wanted to get your thoughts on maybe the progress that's been made on that front, and if there's any other staff additions in the pipeline this summer that might help make Celtic take the next steps.
Yeah, look, we're always looking to improve areas. Obviously, my main focus when I sort of got the position at the beginning of the year was, the team needed rebuilding, and my focus is pretty much on you know, making sure that we had a side that was competitive this year, because, you know, I've said on countless occasions that after a trophyless season last year, we had to have success this year. It's just how I felt. So my total focus was on getting a team and sort of an environment where give us a chance for success anyway. But within that, you know, I feel that there are areas we can continually look to improve the club. Sports science was one area where we've bulked up. Player welfare was another area where we've brought people in to help players both on and off the field. All these things are there to make us a better club. And, you know, in this off-season, there'll be other areas that, you know, now I have the time and I guess the understanding of how things are working where we can make these improvements. And, I think there are still areas where, we can be better. And the club's been really supportive. I tend to be fairly, meticulous and probably in some respects people think, or feel maybe I should move a bit quicker, but I just like to get things right. So I haven't rushed these decisions. I haven't just brought people in for the sake of it. I'll bring the people in that I believe can add to what's already a really strong group of staff that support the players, and we'll do that over the coming months. And Michael and the board have been really supportive about that. They're leaving it to me and making sure that whatever I've asked for so far, I've received, and I think that'll continue.